Over the last 2 years, I've read these 25 self-improvement and finance books. Each time that I do it, I try to catch and write down as many interesting quotes or ideas that shift my perspective about the world, because my monkey brain just likes forgetting stuff. Recently, I went through my list of quotes, and in this video, I want to share the 3 most interesting ideas that I found on this list, which completely changed how I see things. The first one comes from the book 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. In the book, he talks about how to join the NR, the new rich. They work remotely, have escaped the 9-to-5 rat race, can work and travel the world, and most importantly, they earn a higher relative rather than absolute income than most people. What's that? The idea is that you should focus on how much you earn, not based on the lump sum of money, but based on how much you earn per unit of time. So a person who works 4 hours per week and makes $10,000 per year is a lot richer than a person who works 8 hours a day and earns $50,000 a year, because the 4-hour per week person makes $52 an hour and the 8-hour per day person $32 an hour. Even though the second one makes 5 times the amount of money, he has no time to do anything else, to enjoy it. This book is full of interesting productivity tips and cool ideas about how to deal with other people and optimize your time. Do not work harder when the solution is to work smarter. I liked the idea from Tim Ferriss that problems often solve themselves if you give them time. There are seldom real emergencies. When you reply to emails or messages, not immediately, the problem often just ends up solving itself. It just needs time. And the quote that I wrote down from the 4-Hour Workweek is this: mediocre goals are harder to achieve than goals that seem impossible. It's easier to raise 10 million than 1 million. Most people aim for mediocre goals, and that means there's a lot of competition, and the goal isn't really that motivating. Think bigger. It's way more motivating, and there will be less people standing in your way because no one dares to aim that big. After all, it's the same stress level fighting for crumbs or fighting for something big. So why not fight for something big? Now, the next book is $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. I'm reading this right now, and it's so dense with information about how to make an offer that people feel stupid saying no to. One mind-blowing thing that Alex explains is how you can make your product instantly better by increasing the price. It's so weird. If you increase the price of something, the customer perceives the product to have more value. Let's say it's like an exercise plan. If it's more expensive, then the customer will try to actually follow the plan because it hurt to spend so much money on it. And so increasing the price actually increased their chances of actually becoming more fit. Think about that. Nothing changed, only the price, and now the person who got the exercise plan is more likely to become fit. On the other hand, if it was cheap and they didn't follow the plan, then the worst case scenario for them would be to just lose a few bucks. There wouldn't be so much motivation to follow through, and the exercise plan that you're selling would have not worked as well. It's pretty insane how much just changing the price can make the product good or bad. This book talks about how to pick the right market, how to write copy for your product, how to niche down, and other cool tips, essentially to make an offer people feel stupid saying no. I'm sure that this quote didn't come from the actual book, but from a podcast with Alex Hormozi, but nevertheless, here it is. There's no food that will make you never hungry. There's no drink that will never make you thirsty again. There's no sex that will make you never want sex. There's no amount of money that will make you want less money. That's human nature. Once you truly realize this, you'll be able to enjoy the journey, the grind, the road to greatness, and notice the great things in life. Moving on to the next book, and that's the Millionaire Fastlane. In it, the author talks about how it's more than possible to get rich quick, but not easy. And by quick, he means 5 to 10 years. Just imagine if you could sacrifice 5 years building a business and then not have to worry about money for the rest of your life. Might be a fair trade. After all, some of us spend those 5 years in college learning so we can work for the rest of our lives. Sure, 5 years to reach financial freedom seems like a long time, but compared to a lifetime of 50 or 60 years, it's rather short. This book is about the mindset of driving to financial freedom through the fast lane rather than the slow lane. The slow lane is just working a job, investing 20% of your income and hoping that you can retire in 60 years with arthritis in both your knees. And the fast lane is building a business that can set you free financially in 5 to 10 years. The author tells this very interesting story. A great Egyptian pharaoh summons his two young nephews, Chuma and Azur, and he commissions them to a majestic task: build two monumental pyramids as a tribute to Egypt. The pharaoh promises each an immediate reward of kingship, retirement amidst riches, and lavish luxury for the rest of their lives. Also, each nephew must construct his pyramid alone. Chuma and Azur, both 18 years old, know their daunting task will take years to complete. They exit the pharaoh's chambers, ready to begin the long pyramid building process. Azur begins work immediately. He slowly drags large heavy stones into a square formation. After a few months, the base of Azur's pyramid takes shape. The people of Egypt gather around Azur's constructive efforts and praise his handiwork. The stones are heavy and difficult to move, and after 1 year of heavy labor, Azur's perfect square foundation to the pyramid is nearly finished. But Azur is confused. The plot of land that should bear Chuma's pyramid is empty. Not one stone has been laid. No foundation, no dirt engravings. Confused, Azur visits Chuma's home and finds him in his barn working on a twisted apparatus that resembles some kind of a human torture device. Chuma, what the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be building Pharaoh a pyramid, and you spend your days locked in this barn fiddling with this crazy machine. Chuma cracks a smile and says, I'm building a pyramid. Leave me alone. Azur scoffs. Yeah, sure you are. You haven't laid one stone in over a year. Pharaoh will hang you in the gallows when he discovers your treason. Another year passes, and Azur solidifies the base of his pyramid and begins the second level. Except a problem arises. Azur struggles in his progress. The stones are heavy and he cannot raise them to the pyramid's second level. Challenged by his physical limitations, Azur recognizes his weakness. He needs more strength to move heavier stones. And to do so, he hires Egypt's strongest man to help train him to become stronger. Meanwhile, Chuma's pyramid plot of land is still empty. Another year passes and Azur's pyramid construction slows to a disheartening crawl. It often takes 1 month to just place one stone. Moving stones to the upper levels require great strength, and Azur spends most of his time working on building greater strength. Azur estimates at his current construction pace, his pyramid will be completed in another 30 years. But he thinks, after 3 years, I far surpassed my brother. He hasn't placed a single stone yet, that fool. Then suddenly, one day, while hauling a heavy stone up his pyramid, Azur hears a loud commotion erupting from the town square. The people gather round. Curious himself, Azur takes a break and leaves to investigate. Surrounded by a cheering crowd, Chuma tolls up the town square, a towering machine built from a twisted maze of gantries, wheels, levers, and ropes. Within minutes, Chuma's strange machine starts moving heavy stones and begins to lay the foundation to his pyramid. One after another, the machine effortlessly lifts the stones and softly places them side by side into place. Miraculously, the machine requires little effort for Chuma's operation. Heavy stones are moved quickly and magically. While Azur's pyramid foundation took over a year to build, Chuma lines up the foundation to his pyramid within 1 week. The second level that Azur struggled with is even more shocking. Chuma's machine does the work 30 times quicker. What took Azur 2 months takes Chuma's machine 2 days. After 40 days, Chuma and his machine accomplish as much as Azur's 3 years of toll-stump work. Azur was destroyed. He spent years doing the heavy lifting while Chuma built a machine to do it for him. Instead of honoring the machine, Azur vows, I must get stronger. I must lift heavier stones. Azur continues the hard labor of pyramid building while Chuma continues to work the crank of his machine. After 8 years, Chuma finishes his pyramid at age 26. 3 years to build the system and 5 years to reap the benefits of the system. The great pharaoh is pleased and does as promised. He rewards Chuma with kingship and endows him with great riches. Chuma never has to work another day in his life. Meanwhile, Azur continues to dredge away at the same old routine. Lift rocks, waste time and money to get stronger, lift rocks, and get stronger. Sadly, Azur refuses to acknowledge his flawed strategy and endures the same old process. Carry heavy stones until you can lift no more. Meanwhile, Chuma retires 40 years early in a crown of luxury, sloshing in free time. Chuma goes on to become Egypt's greatest scholar and an accomplished investor inventor. He's entombed alongside Pharaoh in the same pyramid he built. And here's the quote. Instead of digging for gold, sell shovels. Instead of taking a class, offer a class. Instead of borrowing money, lend it. Instead of taking a job, hire for jobs. Instead of taking a mortgage, hold a mortgage. Break free from consumption, switch sides, and reorient to the world as a producer. I hope this was useful to someone out there, and I'll see you in the next one.